Okay, so let's talk about the stereotypes and prejudices in Mexico. Well, how your culture is perceived by the rest of the world. What I conclude is that people who are in Mexican or never had the experience to live here and get to know for real our culture, they just have a tiny idea of it, which isn't about the perspective they have of our culture, unlike they admire it, since it is very colorful. Many traditions as parties are celebrating during the year, making this a joyful culture. Also, many people had commented me about the food since the elaboration to the taste that it is great. Finally, all the buildings in Asian places to visit its worthless. What I understand by worthless is that all the colors present in the picture while you admire it make the whole experience different. Okay, so now let's talk about the stereotypes I have of our culture and the causes of it and feelings they create. Well, since I have the opportunity to relate with people from other parts of the world, mostly from Canada and USA, the first thing I do is ask them if they have visited Mexico. And the answer I get the most is, I would love to, it seems beautiful, and really it is. But then they argue about the security, telling me that the fear is bigger than the desire to visit. Obviously, I ask what type of fear do they have. The first answer of why they are scared about Mexico it is because the narcos and the drug dealing business. I think most of the people who doesn't live or had lived in Mexico had the image thanks to all the movie and TV shows about it. So I always explain them or answer them by telling them, yes, in Mexico all the narco stuff it is rough, but it is present as in any other country. In the actuality, it is better regulated and it is nothing like in movies. You can walk in calm like any other country you visit, obviously having the same caution. Another important stereotype which really makes me laugh is when they ask me, how do you go to school? Foreign people have the idea we travel in donkeys or horses, which some people might still do, but most of the people, and by most I mean like most of the society, travels in car or public transportation. Also, they question me about if we only eat tacos or drink tequilas. This is a tough one since in a big part we do eat a lot of tacos, but not always. I consider Mexican culture have a really big spectrum of food and tequila. This creating the stereotype that we only drink that or eat that. So now let's pass to the changes in stereotypes and prejudice from one generation to another. A stereotype that it had changed is how before men always pay the check for the woman, and in actuality, or both pay the checks or sometimes the woman does for him. Another example may be how the new generation celebrates Halloween or even Thanksgiving, adapting Mexican traditions with the United States. A new stereotype is how Mexicans read even less than before. Since thanks to the technology, most of Mexicans have a cell phone, and it has been proved that they receive or learn information in a better way via visual. And before, Mexicans used to read newspapers. Different cultural groups in our society and the way people perceive them. Well, Mexico is an agriculture, but it might be divided mostly by south or north places in the country. People from south have maybe other type of speaking, eating, or even celebrate traditions than north ones. All Mexicans are friendly, but it may be different, it's the way some speak. To finish, we will see the stereotype and prejudice of gender, age, and wealth in our society. In Mexico, the age really doesn't matter, since my point of view. What I mean it really doesn't matter is that legally Mexicans do whatever they want, like start drinking before 18 and many other stuff. But it does matter if you're a girl. Since Mexican culture is considered a male chauvinist, there is a certain age for a girl to start drinking or even have a boyfriend. This within the year, it has been changing but still remains. This passing to the gender theme, which for some Mexicans it is a delicate theme. Since, as I just mentioned, Mexico always had a strong male position, that maybe within the years it had been more regulated into equality for women. In the other hand, for new genders like gays, it is tough. With the time, little by little, new genders had been accepted in different ways, but the journey hadn't been easy. Really, it is really hard for all gay people to be accepted if you are Mexican.